Hello, everyone. My guest today is Tomasz Manugiewicz, General Manager of Grand Parade, Kraków site, a very seasoned and experienced software development manager, and keynote speakers at various conferences and events. Hello, Tomek, and thank you very much for being here with us and welcome you to the show.
Hello, Maciej. Thank you for inviting me and happy to be here. I'm looking for a really curious conversation with you.
So let's start with a very open questions, maybe a question that is being repeated all over this year since the ChatGPT burst. But nonetheless, I think the question is important. How will generative AI influence work of software developers' job?
Yeah, that's the question that everyone is trying to predict. From my perspective, definitely it will influence, and it influenced right now. The revolution already started. So obviously, the most common use case of the AI is to generate code, right? Generate a lot of responses, but in general, when we think about software development, it's about generating the code. And we sort of see this revolution not only this year, but in previous years. Because let's imagine, like 30 years or 40 years ago, we started with writing assembler on the microprocessors. Then we had more high-level languages like Java and so on. Then recently, we had a bunch of the solutions that were generating the code when you are dragging and dropping and dragging the elements. There is a movement like low code or no code tools that the web pages, for example, that can be generated automatically. So this is just one step further. So adding the AI components to it. So it definitely will change it. Now, when I speak with a lot of CEOs, some of them say that, hey, we need to block ChatGPT or block AI tools in our company because of various reasons. And I can understand that on one hand. But on the other hand, I don't think we will be able to block this revolution. So you would rather need to learn how to leverage AI and maybe learn more sophisticated jobs and create more sophisticated jobs, like paying attention on the architecture of our solutions, putting all the components together generated by AI. So it's very, very broad question. Happy that you asked at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's all mind blowing, and the question is very broad. But what would be the risks that the CEOs you mentioned point out in regard to software development in particular? Because this is what I have in mind.
Yeah, AI is all about data, right? So the first risk that I see potentially in the technology, it's a leakage of the data. So if we put our solutions, our tools to AI to be more to be enhanced, to be created, we have to provide a bunch of data as well, and that the companies might be worried about. And I can assess this is a huge risk. The other risk, which is not actually the real risk for the company, but it is a real risk for the teams, development teams, is that people will be just using the chat and not, like cooperating together with it in a creative way, which means that right now, when we need to, figure out the solutions, we need to meet ideally in the office. Obviously, after COVID, it's not so easy to meet in the office anymore, but we need to brainstorm together. And I can imagine that once each and every developer will be interacting with AI, for example, ChatGPT or other, language models, they may lack need of connectedness with people, need of creativity, and our solutions, at the end of the day, obviously, AI also can generate some creative solutions, but in the end of the day, we'll be lacking this art component to software development.
Isn't it that, let's say, this will distill the creativity out of people, because all the, let's say, mundane tasks will be outsourced to chat or to any kind of generative AI, and you are to be more creative because you are working through an intermediary, not directly. Let's say the intellectual work is indirect.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like with every new technology, it replaces some of our skills. And here I don't want AI to replace my creativity, for example, right? So that's the challenge.
So what skills would be even more in demand on today's software development market? And maybe another question also connected to it. Well, is the profession of software developer in danger?
Yeah, so profession is not in danger, I think. And when it comes to the skill set, when you ask about skills, obviously everyone mentioned about soft skills, or I would more prefer to call it human skills. But before we jump into this area, and this is frankly, this is very important area. But if we, let's say for now, focus on more engineering part of the skills, I think that we need to become prompt engineers, and obviously that's easy to tell, to create the prompts for AI, for ChatGPT, for example. But it really is. I mean, and that's a funny thing for engineers, because I was a Java developer like 20 years ago, and I also had this tendency to think that, hey, I learn how to program in C, in assembler, in Java, whatever, so I don't need to speak with people. You know what I mean.
And there is this joke. Let's say I didn't go to technical university to speak to people.
Exactly. This joke perfectly describes the situation right now, right? Because obviously we have this language, technical language that we speak with the machines, but right now the machines and not even understand the language that we speak, the human language, English, Polish, whatever. But there is a demand to speak with the machines in our language. So we need to be precise. Communication, written communication, but I believe that there will be some verbal communication as well with the AI. But in this human communication, we need to understand the context, not just say, hey, write me a flight booking system, but to add to this prompt the context, the description of our clients, maybe description of of the client's feeling. We can ask ChatGPT, hey, create system which will bring joy and fun and whatever, or we can describe, sky is the limit, this is our imagination. So we need to be precise, but at the same time we need to use our imagination, our creativity. And one more thing that I would like to add to that is that we need to predict, it will be good if we will predict potential solutions that our prompt will generate. Why? Because we'll be more effective in prompt engineering if we can predict expected results. Then our brain can also learn in a similar way to language models. There is a lot of skills, like curiosity, for example. I think about curiosity, meaning that learning about AI, playing with AI, putting some random requests to AI to train them, but also to train ourselves. So this is never. I think never-ending list of those skills that we need to be aware. But definitely, it's getting less engineering, more human. If I would put it that way. Obviously, the additional point for engineers that we are precise, we are technical, we understand a little bit how this response could be generated. But all these human skills with the creativity at the beginning is a crucial.
TDD is known is an acronym for test-driven development, but you read this acronym a little bit different. I love on one year of your presentations at one of the conferences of what you mean by TDD, and I think this is very crucial in the age of AI. So, what is TDD for you?
For me, and that's funny that you asked about it, because I came up with this idea even before the AI. It was like a couple of years ago, 4 years ago maybe. And basically, TDD for me, trust-driven development, was about starting with building a relationship with each other. Because what I found is also about DevOps mindset, that DevOps is all about building relationships between development and operations. And obviously, it started with the relationship, and this movement started with development and operations. Some people connect this movement with tooling, and obviously there are tools that support the DevOps practices, but the real basis is how to operate in the environment that we have developers and we have operations people, and we don't want to just throw the hot potato over the wall, but we would like to learn from each other and understand each other and work with each other. So basically, in order to have this setup, we need to, first things first, establish trust. And I know that trust is like a little bit, big word or fuzzy word for engineers, because it's like, what does it mean to establish trust? And for me, I came across, when I was searching about it, I came across the model of the 2 components of trust: the cognitive pillar of trust and emotional pillar of trust. You can find my talks on the YouTube when I describe this.
We'll put a link.
Yeah, that would be great, actually. So I will not explain everything maybe today, but in the long story short, is about showing that you can deliver, that you are reliable person, that you know your stuff, you know your code, that you know Java, you know how to develop the solutions, but at the same time, you need to be trusted as a person. People need to trust you, that not only you will deliver, but you will do everything that you could to do it in the best way, that people can rely on you as a human being. So that's in general. And obviously, after DevOps movement, there were a lot of different ideas like DevSecOps, DevPSOP. So for me, it's like putting all the components, that means some group of people, like DevSecOps, development, security, operations. So again, security guys in the middle, putting security guys in the middle with their tools, with their knowledge and so on, but putting them in the middle to make sure that we all are in line and all working together. So it's about trust. And now, why I'm telling you that it's a good moment that you called it out, because if we are talking about AI, the machine learning processes,
we don't know what's in there.
Yes, exactly.
And we have to trust it.
We need to trust. Exactly. We need to trust, ourselves as well, that we'll be able to interact with this machine. You brought a good point, that we don't know actually how it works inside. So we know the theory, and
to the extent we know.
Say it again.
To the extent we know.
Exactly, to the extent. I remember it was like more than 20 years ago when I was on the studies and the computer science course, and they were teaching us about machine learning and the basis of the neuronal networks. And it's like, the idea is very simple. But to the extent, if the model is starting to learn, it's like a magic. So we need to trust this magic that it will be serving us, right? And we need to trust ourselves that we will be able to teach this model, because this model is nothing without the data that we need to put out there. So when I think about this trust aspect that you mentioned, it's all about also being open to have the communications with the other people, in a sense of, obviously we can have the communication with the machines, but it's tough to trust the machine. So we need to trust, I need to trust my team that we are doing the good job with the language model, for example. Yeah, this is the whole topic of human nature that is getting more and more popular nowadays.
So development becomes ever more automated. Behind the automation is machine learning. We only know to the extent what is in the black box of the network. Human skills are ever more important. A friend of mine, by the way, who runs also a large software development site, told me that they made research and the developers spend only 60% of their time coding. The rest is explaining to the clients, to the other people in organization what they do. Having said all that, how will it influence the role of software development managers?
Definitely will change this role, because how it started, also this is in the title, development managers, right? Software development managers. So they used to code previously. The people that are development managers or engineering managers most likely used to code, used to write the code, and that's why they were promoted. Now, when you are a development manager or engineering manager, you need to deal with people, or you need to take care of your people. You need to be the true leader, the inspiration. You need to motivate them. But at the same time, you have this background in technology, and sometimes you don't even know how to do it because you don't have this, human skill set inside. So obviously, when you start a career as a development manager, you start to most likely start to learn how to do those things, how to take care of the humans and this human aspect of the team development. But what is the most important when it comes to AI, you can use it in one way that it can help you. So, for example, from the learning perspective, you can ask AI about potential areas for development that you would like to develop yourself. You can chat with AI about potential risks. You can describe the situation in the team. Again, be very creative and human-centric. Speaking with AI, I know how it sounds, but you need to be human-centric speaking of it with AI to generate the prompts. But then AI can support you can give you the data basically, because you as an engineering manager, you need the data. So it will give you the data about potential risks in the team, can give you the data about how to develop on their career stages. So you will have the access to all the knowledge that is out there in the internet. But what it will not do for you, the AI will not speak with your people. So you can take those data that AI will provide you. You can have some sort of counterpart with AI and say, hey, I need to evaluate the risk and so on. But then it's on you to take this evaluation, this data set, the risk evaluation, and go to the people and speak with them, build relationships with them. So it's even more and more needed for managers to be more human, more empathetic. What I also can see as a benefit of AI, first let's speak about benefits, is that as an engineering manager, you can ask the AI about all the recruitment strategy, how to attract the talent, how to recruit the talent, maybe what the questions to ask to the people.
Would you rely on it?
Yeah, if to provide the context about such situation, right, and ask about if we can rely on this behavior. I wouldn't say the person, but the behavior, because again, for me, AI is about analyzing the input and providing the output. So I don't want to put as input the person. I would like to put as input the behavior of the person. Yeah, so a lot of benefits. Obviously, the AI can do technical stuff for engineering managers, and then it can free up the time for engineering managers to speak with the real people, to be inspirational leader for them, to motivate them, and so on. But there is one risk or one huge threat that I see here in terms of using AI as a leader, and more not using AI as a leader, but having the access to the AI, because your people in the team can use the AI extensively, and they may lose the possibility to speak with each other, or the need to speak with each other. I will give you the example with the COVID situation. When COVID started, obviously everyone was working from home, and obviously pretty much everyone said, yes, that's perfect. We can work from home all day online. We don't need to come to the office. That's ideal situation. But after some time, some of the engineering managers came to me saying, hey, I have a problem in my team, because people feel like, it looks like people feel alone, but they don't tell me that. Some of them looked like in a depression mood, or I don't want to say it was or wasn't the depression. I would like to emphasize that it was like the low mood, very low mood that people were in, and engineers didn't know why. They have the access to their coding environment. They speak with the people on the camera. They even play the games, online games after work. They watch Netflix. So what's going on, And after some time, they realized, speaking with me, they realized that, hey, the human connection is the issue, right? Those guys are sitting at home without any human connections. So now, when I can compare it to the AI world a little bit, obviously with COVID, we learned how to pay attention on our atmosphere in the team, hybrid work, and so on. But with AI, I could potentially see the risk that every single person will be so much interacting with AI, chatting, asking questions, generating the prompts, that they may they may don't want to, or don't have a need to speak with a colleague on the right or colleague on the left.
Very good point.
That's the very big risk from my perspective.
That's a huge risk, especially again, none of us is a psychiatrist, but I do think that this specific type of work that software engineers do, which is, let's say, they work alone to a large extent. I think that this professional group is more prone to depression, I would dare to say, than other groups. So this is my sole personal opinion.
Yeah. There are some tools we use Pecan, for example, but obviously this is not not the advertisement, but I'm just putting out there that we use Pecan to to sense a mood of organization on every level. We have questionnaire once per month to check the mood, there are a lot of questions over there, but the main goal is to have the conversation with people anonymously at some point, at the first point, checking this mood, and then have the corrected action plan to improve that. So when I think about AI and the language models, it also can help us in generating the action plan for engagement improvement. We can give even the raw data in in a JSON file from this tool to the AI, and based on that, AI can propose us some mitigation action or action plan to improve the engagement. That could be also the one scenario.
Taking team management aside, do you believe that software engineering managers will be more client-facing nowadays because more things will be automated? Communication will become even bigger issue, and we are relying on something we don't really know how it works. And clients would like to have explainable AI, so to say, which I don't know if we reach explainable AI that soon. I believe we will reach it, but it's not as easy as one might think. Even Jeffrey Hinton said that he doesn't really understand, let's say, how back propagation works, really, and he never believed back propagation will be implemented practically.
Yes, that's totally true. I think that's from the perspective of implementation, as I said, 20 years ago, it was very bright idea that those guys were teaching us on a university, but every single one of them was saying, yes, this is the idea. We are doing some experiments, but we don't know how it will look like in the future. And here we are 20 years later with those crazy language models. Yeah, that's definitely a huge mystery right now for us. And I'm glad that we all, as an industry, we all able to admit that, that we don't know what we don't know, right? Basically. You asked about the client-facing role of engineering managers. I think that obviously nowadays, as we speak, there are a lot of different challenges with the communication with the clients, obviously, as always. But again, it's about trust, and the Agile Manifesto that I was into at some point. I was heavily involved in Agile environment and Agile domain. So the Agile Manifesto invented like couple of years ago, 23 or 22 years ago. It says about exactly that, about trust. So customer collaboration, over contract negotiation, working software over, extensive documentation. It's all about the trust, because we trust our client and our clients trust us. So we don't need to negotiate heavily the contract, but we would like to develop something together. The same with the documentation. Obviously, minimum documentation is crucial, is needed. In order to know what's inside the code, there are various practices, by the way, how to do it properly, right? But the most important fact is that our clients, they wanted at some point in the past, maybe nowadays as well, they want to have extensive documentation because they don't trust us that we will tell them everything. That might be one of the reasons. So trust between engineering managers and the clients needs to be critical point. And I remember I was working in one company, I think 13 years ago or something like this, more than 10, definitely, that there were engineers developing software, but they were not called engineers. They were called software consultants. And every time people were asking, okay, but you are a software consultant, what does it mean? The pure consultant, I may know what that is, but software consultant. And it was exactly that. Use your software engineering knowledge to help the client and to establish the relationship with the client. So I think that we need to be ready as an industry, not only the managers and the leaders of the organizations, but also developers, engineers, that we will be asked and we will be requested to be trusted and to be trustful and to establish this relationship with the clients.
Last but not least, there are two opinions on the market right now. First opinion is that companies will, like in the first years of the cloud revolution, that companies will try to establish their own infrastructure for machine learning, for AI, because of data sensitivity and the protection of their know-how. If this happens, in my opinion, these junior people that will lose jobs in the software development industry, because I unfortunately presume that there will be job losses in regard to simple front-end jobs, for instance, everything that can be automated, or maybe not automated, which is repeatable. And the second opinion is that companies will rely on the cloud infrastructure that large language models, that large generative AI companies already have, because it's way more advanced than it used to be with the cloud. It has Chinese walls between various clients, data is protected, so software development will become even more kind of putting a construction out of ready Lego bricks. What would be your take, and which opinion would you lean more towards?
Yeah, it's like predicting the future with the magic wand. So I think that there will be some trusted providers like AWS for cloud or Google Cloud. So that's us dedicated cloud solutions for the AI clusters. And our clusters in our company will be totally safe and secured, and will be on the separate spaces, even physical spaces, or connecting this distribution. It will be difficult, but I think that this is the way forward. Being closed in just our own AI infrastructure, it's first things first, very expensive. At the same time, we would need to have AI experts, which is also very expensive, will be very expensive. We don't have many jobs right now in this space, but if we would like to maintain our AI solutions and our own infrastructure, we'll need to hire a lot of expensive people. So I think outsourcing it to the trusted vendor, having the separate cluster for a company, and having this trust with the vendor that our data is really protected. No one is, stealing it or doing the weird things with our data.
The very interesting thing is that, for instance, when Google invested into Anthropic, it wasn't Google as such or Google Venture, it was Google Cloud division. So it looks like that they are investing also. Some commentators said that they are investing into generative AI companies in order to generate business for themselves. So might be that cloud becomes even bigger business than it used to be already.
Exactly.
Tomasz, thank you so much for this conversation. It was great to hear you as always. And I hope this is not our last conversation on this show. Tomasz Manugiewicz, General Manager, was our guest.
Thank you very much, Maciej, and looking forward for the next episodes.
Thank you so much for listening to Szczerba Search on Tech. If you have enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our show wherever you listen. Thanks again. The Szczerba Search on Tech podcast is a production of Szczerba Search, an executive search firm specializing in the tech industry, helping hire the right people for expert and managerial positions, and advising how to build and develop long-lasting, high-performing IT teams. If you would like to learn more, reach out to us at maciej.szczerba@sherpasearch.tech or visit our website sherpasearch.tech. See you next time.